Welcome to the 4thDown podcast. We are your hosts for today. My name is Alex,
And my name is Mickey.
and today we're going to be previewing the divisional round weekend. Four really exciting matchups. Hopefully, it can top last weekend with some pretty intense games. Before we get into that, though, we want to recap Cowboys Buccaneers that game real quick on Monday night, where the Cowboys beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-14 to advance to the divisional round, which they would take on the San Francisco 49ers. Not really a whole lot to say other than the Cowboys just outplayed the Bucks very handily, except for Brett Maher, the kicker, who missed 4 extra points. But other than that, the Cowboys pretty much just dominated the Bucks. Tom Brady tried to attempt to come back, but just fell short. Nothing really else to say in that game.
Yeah, I mean, all season the Cowboys have kind of been a hit or miss kind of team, and they definitely, aside from the missed kicks, but they played very well, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, we all thought it was gonna be a sloppy game, but they just straight up dominated against the Cowboys in all aspects. So we'll see. But yeah, nothing really else to say about that game other than they just outplayed Tom Brady and Buccaneers eliminated. As we transition from that to now the main purpose of today's show is the divisional round weekend. In my opinion, it is the most exciting week of football. Um, because you finally get to see like these teams in a wild card take on the top dogs. Um, should be a lot of fun. We had a lot of great matchups. The Jaguars take on the Chiefs at 4:30 Saturday, and then Saturday night the Giants will play the Eagles at around 8:20. That game will be on Fox. The Jaguar Chiefs on NBC, and then Sunday, which I think is gonna be the better of the 2 days, the Bengals will play the Bills 3 p.m. and then the Cowboys will play the 49ers 6:40 on Fox. The Bengals Bills game is on CBS too. So we'll get started with the Jaguars and the Chiefs, which is probably expected to be the least exciting matchup out of the four matchups we have the weekend, but should be really interesting. The Jaguars are coming off a miraculous comeback win over the Chargers, 31-30, which Trevor Lawrence threw 4 picks in the first half, but threw 4 touchdowns in the second. And they're going to be taking on the high-powered Chiefs, in which they kind of dominated last time they met back in Week 10.
Yeah, so I think if I think the Jaguars can put up a decent fight if they get their crap together, but I don't think they can pull out a win. I also I don't know. I feel like it's either going to be a massacre or it's going to be a slightly less massacre and the Jags are actually going to put up a fight. But if they come out and play like they did the first half of that game against the Chargers, there is no chance.
Yeah, like I told you too, we talked a little bit during the Chargers Jaguars. Um, yeah, you come back against the Chargers, but Chiefs aren't blowing a 27-point lead.
No.
Yeah, they blew an 18-point lead against the Bengals, but the Bengals are a much better team than the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're calling for snow though. They're calling for snow this weekend for that game. So I mean, could there always be a weather plays an impact? Maybe, but I just think the Chiefs are on fire right now. Um, Definitely got home field advantage. The only thing Jacksonville has assembled a great team too under Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson did a terrific job with his first year head coaching there. Um, we'll see. I think it all depends on how Lawrence plays, like you mentioned. The running game is going to be a big factor in it. And we'll just see how the Jag defense is very underrated in my opinion. I think they'll be fun to watch, especially against that Chiefs offense. So we'll see. I am going to pick the Chiefs though. I think the Chiefs are just too much. They have too much talent on both sides of the ball. And with Lawrence throwing 4 picks against that Charger defense, which is still one of the best in the league, I think the Chiefs are going to bring more pressure. And if Lawrence makes turnovers, that's going to be touchdowns to the Chiefs. So I think Chiefs win this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. I think Jacksonville has the potential, but even if you gave them the best set of circumstances, I still don't know that they could go toe to toe with the Chiefs.
Yeah, so we're both green Chiefs.
Yes.
All right, and now we're going to go to Saturday night matchup, which I think, honestly, this matchup could be like one of the more interesting ones. I mean, there's only 4 matchups, so yeah. But this one could have a big upset written all over it. I know, and that's the Giants and Eagles. Now, last time Jalen Hurts played, and given due to factor, Jalen Hurts did return from his his right shoulder injury, I believe that kept him out a few weeks. The Giants almost beat the Eagles, and Giants played nobody. They played nobody in that game, and they only lost by 6. Um, the Giants defense, they've been playing pretty good. Their offense with Daniel Jones, whose ability he can only throw the ball, but he can also run the ball very well. Saquon Barkley, he's a stud. I don't know. It's gonna be a really tight matchup. I actually think this game's gonna be a little bit low scoring though. I don't think it's gonna be as high scoring as like the Giants Vikings game.
So you think it's going to be a more defense heavy type of game?
I think it's gonna be a really defensive heavy type game. I think that Giants defense, given circumstances, they did give up 24 points against the Vikings, but I think they know this opponent well too. That's the one thing. It's hard to beat an opponent 3 times. I mean, we saw Miami against Buffalo. Miami really didn't beat Buffalo 3 times, but with division opponents, Miami put up a good fight on the road with Skylar Thompson as the quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with that, but there were also a lot of mistakes on Buffalo's end.
Right. But back to the Giants-Eagles game, what I'm saying is they put up a good fight against a really talented Bills team. I think the Giants are obviously, at the time, are a better team than the Dolphins heading into the game against the Eagles. I think the Giants could have the potential upset written all over them. I'm still going to pick Philadelphia, though. I think Philadelphia does have a lot of fire weapons on offense. I do think Miles Sanders is going to be a big factor in this game because who knows if Jalen Hurts is going to, throw the ball a lot after this week or if they're going to run an option more. So watch out for Miles Sanders in the run game. And if that Giants defense can shut down the run game, then they could be in trouble. But I still think Philly wins because, again, with the Chiefs, they have so much talent on both offensive and defensive side of the ball.
Eagles, you said Chiefs.
No, I said Eagles.
Okay.
But no. I do think the Eagles are going to win this game.
I don't know. You're probably right, but I do feel like if the Giants can stop the run, they might be able to pull out a win.
And that's going to depend on Daniel Jones' ability, too. Because Daniel Jones, he did go on the road to play. And granted, the Vikings are frauds. 13 wins. But it's still impressive to go on the road against a 13-win team and win. Especially playing the underdog mentality all year long. So, the Giants do have potential. It's going to come down to Daniel Jones' running ability, too. Because I think they'll be so focused on Saquon Barkley, that could bring up an option for Daniel Jones to run the ball. But, like I said, I think Philadelphia is a much more talented team. I think they have a lot more weapons on offense and defense. And they're number 1 seed for a reason. And also, too, they're just unstoppable. I think Philadelphia wins this game.
I'm going with the upset. I'm going to pick the Giants to win. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a tight game. But, yeah, you're right. The Eagles are the better team. They have a lot of talent, but I don't know. Part of me just wants to root for the underdog.
But the one thing going against the way is it is hard to beat a division rival 3 times in a row. It is really, really hard. So we'll see. It should be a fun game. I think it's going to be one of the... I don't know. But I do think it's going to be a heavy dogfight on both defense side. So, yeah. So, split. Eagles-Giants.
Yep.
All right, so that's it for Saturday games. Sundays are going to bring the better matchups, in my personal opinion. And we're going to start with probably the matchup of the weekend. The Bengals and the Bills, 2 very even teams when it comes to talent level. And this is, the game that never happened with, unfortunate events will happen. But now they get to play. Heaven forbid something happens this time. But this is going to be a really fun matchup. This is 2 teams who, like I said, are very evenly matched. They both have very talented quarterbacks, both really great receiving cores, both good, tremendous run games. Tight end position, good, and both really underrated defenses. The Bills, had the number 1 defense last year, and the Bengals have a very underrated defense. It's going to be a fun game. I am going to pick the Bengals because given the circumstances, yes, what happened that Monday night, I think like I think the Bengals would have won that game if you know, like I said, if something like that never happened, because the Bengals scored a touchdown, and I feel like they just have the better firepower. But the Bills are playing with a lot of heart. They're at home, but I just think the Bengals are a more talented team.
So I agree with you that the Bengals are definitely have a very talented team, and they're very, you know, I also agree with you that they probably would have won that game. However, that game didn't happen, and this game is happening, and the Bills have such a momentum going on right now that I think I'm going to pick the Bills.
One thing about between the two teams, like listen, both teams didn't play a great game. Bengals won at the last second against a Ravens team without Lamar Jackson. Bills won pretty much last second against a team led by Skylar Thompson. Both teams made mistakes, but I think the Bills make more mistakes than the Bengals.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Both teams have made sloppy mistakes this season thus far, but I would definitely agree that Buffalo has made more of them.
So that's what I'm solely picking because I think Buffalo makes more mistakes than the Bengals do. Like, when have you rarely seen the Bengals make a mistake? Other than, like last night. Or, like, not last night, but like Sunday night against the Ravens.
Well, and also, whenever you get to the point where you're so frustrated that you start, like, fighting with the opposite team, you gotta rein that in because that's not what you're here to do.
Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be a fun game. I think this could be an overtime game. This could be it's gonna be a lot of fun, but it's gonna be I think a high scoring because the weather's supposed to be not as I think it's supposed to be nice. So it's gonna be a high scoring game. I am gonna pick Bengals. You're gonna pick Bills.
I'm picking the Bills, but I'm excited to see how this game plays out. I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun, and it's Bills Mafia is gonna be going crazy.
Yeah.
So
I also just want to say, I understand kind of why they did with everything that they did, but I do think it is kind of unfair that the Bills have this as a home game.
yeah, I mean that's yeah.
I mean that's definitely a factor as well, but I mean both of these teams can perform at home or away, so I don't think it's that big of a factor.
So it's like I said. I think Bengals are gonna go in there and win. I mean, they just have the better fire weapons. I think Zach Taylor does a tremendous job coaching. Then with John McDermott, I don't know. It's gonna be a fun game. I can't wait. So I'm going with Bengals. You're going with Bills.
Yep.
All right. We'll continue on with our last game of the weekend. A game that's should be fun. Probably will be fun. Or it will be a 49ers blowout, but it's the Dallas Cowboys taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The last game of the weekend. And as mentioned like earlier in the show, the Cowboys blow out the Bucks. They won very well. They play very well. Their defense did amazing. And the Niners blew out the Seahawks. Struggled a little bit in the first half, but they managed to turn around in the second half. And boy, how about that Christian McCaffrey trade, huh? Paying off for them. They've won 11 straight. Niners are red hot. But I am actually going to pick the Dallas Cowboys in this one. Listen, it's easy to hate on the Cowboys. Everyone's doing it for the last 2-3 decades. But you look at the Dallas Cowboys team, this is a completely different team. And I get it, they struggled at times. Like, they got blown out by Washington, and they also went on the road to beat Tom Brady and the Bucs 31-14. I like the Cowboys defense. I've always loved the defense this season. I think Micah Parsons is a beast. Van Der Esch, Anthony Barr, Trayvon Diggs. And even the offensive fire weapons with Pollard and Elliott and CD Lamb. CD Lamb's been doing really good. Schultz. I just think the Cowboys have a lot of weapons. And don't forget, the biggest matchup is going to be that run game against the San Francisco 49ers defense. I think if the Cowboys can establish a really good running game with Pollard and Elliott, and even Dak Prescott at times too, he can run the ball pretty good sometimes too. Then it could be in the Cowboys' hand grasp to win this game. I just don't think I trust Brock Purdy because I think this is the best defense Brock Purdy has faced so far yet. If I do recall, I could be quoted wrong on that, but I think this is the best defense he's been playing all season long. And he did struggle against the Seahawks a little bit. He did have great numbers statistically, but in that first half, he overthrew players. He didn't look sharp. I'm just thinking the Dallas Cowboys could actually pull off the upset against this team.
So, I agree with you in some aspects. Brock Purdy is playing phenomenally, but he is still making rookie mistakes because he is a rookie.
And I'm not, I'm just saying like what I said. Like he's phenomenal. He's great. He's really developed well in the 49er system. He's a great quarterback. I'm just saying like don't let the stats fool you. He did have some mistakes, especially in the first half. He rebounded in the second half, which, that's great. You want to see out of a quarterback. But against the Seahawks, too, the Seahawks aren't, the Seahawks is a team that should not have made the playoffs. They should have been Lions. But anyways.
But to counter your point, it depends on what Cowboys team is going to show up to play. Because they are not consistent. The 49ers team, they are consistent. I know what team is going to show up. I don't know who's going to show up for the Cowboys.
And you don't think Mike McCarthy has his team fueling after what happened last year in the playoffs?
I don't think Mike McCarthy is consistent as a coach.
But I'm just saying, usually when teams rematch each other in the playoffs, usually goes the other way. But I think I'm just excited to see how Dak Prescott does against the 49ers defense.
I think it'll be interesting too, but I'm picking the 49ers. I do not trust the Cowboys to be consistent. I can't, are they going to win a game if they're not, if they're missing extra points, if they're making sloppy mistakes? I don't know what Cowboys team is going to show up to play.
That could have been a one-game factor, too, with the extra points.
Oh, no, it definitely could, and it probably was. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying in general, are you going to win against a team like the 49ers if you're making mistakes like that? Mm-hmm. And that definitely probably was a one-game factor with the extra points. That is what it is. But again, the Cowboys have not been consistent at any point throughout this year. So I can't count on them to win. I can count on the 49ers, and I know what team is coming to play.
True. And all these picks are for my bracket. I made a playoff bracket. My Super Bowl prediction is still alive. It is the Bengals and the Eagles in the Super Bowl. But yeah, so those are our picks. We're both agreeing on Chiefs. We split pretty much every matchup. Giants, Eagles, Bengals, Bills, and Cowboys, 49ers. But yeah.
Yeah, we'll check in next week to tell you which one of us was wrong.
Yeah, and we've been doing really well too with producing shows every Monday and Friday. We are going to try to get on Spotify, hopefully after this weekend. We've been saying it for the last year now. Actually, it's, it's great too. It's almost been a year since we started The 4thDown. I just woke up one day with an idea of making The 4thDown, and here we are today. And we've been having fun with it. If you're a big fan of The 4thDown and our podcast, please follow us on YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. TikTok's actually under The 4thDowns. So, but yeah. So that's pretty much gonna be it. We just did a little recap of Divisional weekend, and yeah, that's about it. We will see you guys Monday. Enjoy a nice, amazing football weekend, and we'll be back Monday with the recap of divisional games. See you, everybody.
See ya.